Hello, brother sewing and crafting family. Angela Wolf here, and I'm super excited to see you, and you're going to love this project. So we got Chris Tock with us today. He always has some cool things. If you missed his last show, he showed how to alter a men's shirt, which really came in handy. And if you watched the show from last week, you know Laura took a men's shirt, cut it all up, and made it into the cutest skirt ever. So I'm not sure if Chris would like that if we cut up his shirt and turn it into a skirt, but it was a great project. So what's he going to do today? Oh, let's find out. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. Good to be here. Good to see you.
We're very excited to have you on again, Chris. So I have to tell you, your last show where you showed how to take in a men's shirt, that was super helpful. If anybody here watching missed that show, you can go back to Brother So's YouTube. Is the easiest way to find it. But honestly, Laura Piper took a men's shirt, cut it up into the cutest skirt last week. I'm pretty sure you don't want that happening to your shirts, but the fabric on your shirt would make a fabulous skirt too. I just have to say.
That's really. What's funny is I know we just did that like a month ago, and I was trying to remember what did we do on the last live stream, and it was tailoring a shirt, and it did go really well.
It,
In fact, I gave that to my friend who I made it for his birthday, and it fit him perfectly, and he was super happy. So,
Perfect.
yeah, that's the magic of the sewing studio right there. And for today, I remembered I was doing a technique on like this sleeve thing that I made for a bomber jacket, I think 2 live streams ago or something. In fact, let me put this on.
I remember this. I love this jacket. I
Right.
love this jacket.
So I made this jacket from scratch with all the, 10 needle embroidery machine for the PR 1055, and I sewed it with the Stellaire XJ1. And I was really happy with how it turned. And people freak out every time I wear this outside. So anyway, I've been getting a ton of requests about doing a video on bomber jackets. So for this live stream, I thought, let me see how much of a bomber jacket I can make during one live stream. So I cut out all my panels and I've kind of prepped it, and I have my lining. And we're going to do, instead of direct embroidery onto the panels, I made like 8 or so patches where I'm just going to be sewing a bunch of patches onto the panels. And I'll kind of show how that looks as it goes. But this is a cool 8x8 inch patch that I designed yesterday. And then it took me about 90 minutes to embroider this out, which is pretty good.
Did you do that on a 10 needle?
I did this on the PR1055X. And yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because this is a controversial thing.
Oh, no.
But I used AI to design this.
Really?
So it's technically royalty free. And I was in a hurry to get something ready. I didn't want to just do like an image search of some random thing. So no one owns the rights to this design. And it looks pretty good. I just told AI, hey, make me a solid color design I can put into PE Design 11. And it was like, oh, great. It uses the auto, like it knew everything about PE design.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy cool.
Right.
All right.
And I'm one of those people that's on the fence about AI. So like, that's kind of weird for me to admit that in public.
That's pretty neat, though. I love those patches. So I know you're going to show us everything. And by the way, everyone, I forgot to mention, we are live in the chat today. We're on Brothers Sewing and Crafting Facebook and YouTube pages. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. I'm going to let Chris take over for a bit, and I'm going to monitor the chat. Chris, I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay, I don't know how far we're going to get, but we'll see what happens. And
sounds good.
I'm excited to see how far we can actually get. So first, I cut out all my panels, and I haven't actually done any sewing yet. But am I zoomed into? That's about as much as I can get. Okay, that's fine. And let's pretend that this is in focus. That looks good enough. Whatever. Actually, here, I'll use this as my focus reference. Sorry, I only have to do this once, and then it'll stay that way.
Okay. Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah. So here are my front panels, and I've interfaced the fronts of what's going to end up being welt pockets for where your hands go into the pockets of your fronts. So I figured I would start by showing how I do a welt pocket. And this is the same if you do it on like a pair of pants or a sport coat. We're just doing it with this shape so that it fits in the front of your jacket. So anyway, I'm going to take these over to my Stellaire and I'm just going to stitch a rectangle right on the lines that you see here. Um, and then I'm going to bring it back and show you what's next after that. So I'm sure a lot of people here know how to do welt pockets, but just pretend that this is new to you and that we're having a lot of fun learning new things together.
You know what, Chris? I'll bet you, and I'll monitor the chat. How many people here have ever made a wheel pocket? I bet you there's not as many as you think. And those that have, how many of you liked the process? Because it's like a 50-50 thing. They either love it or they hate it.
Oh, wait, I'm just remembering now. I think I have this backwards. If I flip this, yep, hold on. This is backwards. I'm really glad I noticed this.
Are you going to put your well pockets to the outside of the garment? Is that could be a whole different style?
Well, okay, no. So it would have made it so that instead of your hands going this way, they'd have to go
Oh,
back. I'm sure someone in chat already noticed that, and they were probably like, "You're about to do those pockets backwards, buddy."
I did not notice it. I did not notice it. But I've sewn my sleeves on a tailored jacket one
Oh,
time
I've done that before too.
backwards, and you have to stand like kind of awkward because
Yep,
yep.
I did that. I made one of those color changing sequins smoking jackets for like a Hugh Hefner style party. And I put the sleeves on backwards, and I didn't have time to fix it. Okay, so darn, I had already like pre-pinned this, but I want this to go. I marked it with chalk so I can kind of see it. All right, that's good enough. So I want it to go this way because that's the way that your hand goes in. All right, well, I'm glad I noticed instead of making a complete fool of myself in front of all of these sewing experts that are watching, including you, by the way.
I didn't even notice. I honestly didn't even notice, and I was watching very closely. So you had I I wouldn't have noticed till you put it on, and then you can just have to stand with your hands crossed all the time.
You know what's like, because I've live streamed so much in the past, I would have just pretended that I did it correctly because I would have been too embarrassed to admit that I made a mistake. Okay, so this is how it should look. And now anyway, all right, let's pretend that we just did everything perfectly and we're all in good shape. Good catch. It's funny because most of the time when you do welt pockets, they're symmetrical, so it doesn't matter. But in this case, it most certainly does matter. Okay, so I'm setting my needle to the middle because I don't know about you guys, but I don't get as much control when the needle is on the left with certain machines.
I like middle position too. I'm with you.
Yeah. It's just easier to maintain a seam allowance, especially with curves. So anyway, I'm just going to stitch around the rectangle. I don't know. I know this camera isn't super close, but it's better than nothing at all.
What machine are you on, Chris?
I'm on the Stellaire XJ1, and I'm also embarrassed to admit this, but I have the upgrade kit that they came out with a couple of years ago to make it like an XJ2, I think. But I haven't actually done the thing yet.
You still haven't?
No, like I'm
6 months ago.
embarrassed because this is by far the fanciest machine I've ever had, and I'm still learning new things about it.
Oh, that machine is awesome.
I love this machine. So anyway, I'm just going to power through this quick, then we'll get to the next steps. 3, 4, 5, 6. I try to do the same amount of stitches so it's the same width. Yeah. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back stitch. Okay. Also, when I was pinning these together, I almost pinned both layers to the fabric, and I'm all out of sorts this morning. I feel like I'm not even myself. Anyway, that went perfectly. So let's see. Oops, wrong camera. Here we go. Now, here's how I typically do to open up my. Well, sorry, I'm looking for my favorite pair of scissors that apparently I can't find, so let's just use whatever. Here we go. Got these great cleft scissors that I love, and I don't know where they are. All right. Now I'm going to take out my pins, and if you can't tell, these are now sewn in perfect rectangles here. And I used to draw this with a line, but I don't really need to anymore. All I'm going to do is, here, you know what? I'll draw one of them with a line so you guys can see. For those of you who really, truly have no idea how to do a welt pocket, let's pretend we're teaching a class. I'm going to draw these two little right triangles at the top and bottom, right? And then we're going to draw a straight line right down the middle. Whoops. Like that. You can see that on camera, right? Okay, so those are our cut lines. And it's funny, I think my first YouTube tutorial ever, which was like 11 years ago as a joke, was about welt pockets. So this was the first thing I ever attempted to teach. And here I am, years later, doing the same thing, but with better equipment. Okay, so I just used a rotary cutter to open it up, and now I'm going to use scissors to do the rest of the way. And when I get to these little triangles here, I'm going to cut all the way into the corner of those stitches without cutting through the stitches. Just like that. Forgive me for not zooming in, but I have to refocus every single time I do it because I don't like autofocus. It just creates more problems than it solves sometimes. And okay, so that is one. I'm just going to do the other one real quick. So anyway, if you can't tell, this is now open, and we're going to turn. This is the outside of the jacket, actually. So we sewed this to the outside of our front panel. We're going to turn this to the inside so that you can't see it. Except you'll see this cool little silver accent on the outside, which is, I think, a really cool way to show some decorative elements with utility, because everyone loves pockets, especially women who don't have enough garments that have pockets. Like Angela, when you make jeans, you put proper pockets in your jeans, right?
Of course, yeah, because you
Okay.
need something for your lip gloss and your credit card and your money. I don't do big pockets, so my front
Right,
pocket
right, right,
is
yeah.
really small.
All right, so now, where is my, I want to grab my ironing mat because we're going to turn this and then iron it. All right, let's just put that there, turn on the iron and get this ready. So anyway, I'm going to take this, all the fabric, and we're going to stuff it right into the hole that we just cut. I'm going to flip this around to the back side. And this, the first few times I did this was super awkward, but because I didn't understand what I was doing. I was just following steps and I was like, what is happening right now? I feel like this is some confusing mess, but what is going to eventually happen, we're going to have a perfect rectangular hole and all of our, this is the pocket lining is what we call this part. And I am going to lay this as flat as I can so that I can just barely see the black denim on the inside to make sure that this is totally hidden. And then when that's really flat, you're going to press this with an iron with some steam. I'm starting to wonder how far I'm going to get in this jacket now. But it doesn't matter because I'm having a good time. Okay, so that is done, and I'm wondering, yeah, let's just double up and just do both things at the same time every time. So once again, turn this to the back side, pull all the fabric through, and make it lay flat.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
I know somebody's going to ask this, and I'm wondering the same thing. What fabric are you using for the bomber jacket, and what fabric are you using for that lining there?
Oh, great questions. I'm using black denim for
Ooh.
the outside. I love denim. Denim is, you can just use it for everything. It's great for clothes and tote bags and messenger bags and jackets. Like, it's just such a versatile fabric, and it's cheap. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to find right now. If anyone has any ideas where I can get bulk full bolts of denim, please let me know, including you,
I'll
Angela.
let you know after the show. I've got a really
Yeah,
good source.
I might be headed to Chicago soon to go and visit some fabric outlets to go and fill my car up with fabric.
That looks so good too. What you're doing, it looks.
Thanks. Oh, and this is just like a basic silver quilt cotton. The lining I picked for the inside of the jacket is silk, and I didn't want to do pockets out of silk because it's too delicate. But this matches the lining perfectly, which I'll show you in a second. All right. So anyway, now is the part where we are going to create the welt. So if I kind of flip this over, I'm not trimming this inside of the seam, and I want to fold this so it's covering that hole almost entirely flush. I try not to overlap it too much because then it's hard to get into it. This is one of those things that, like, it's easy to do, but you might need to practice a few times. So anyway, I'm just pressing this over, and then I'm going to pin it so it stays in place. I don't think I'm missing any steps so far. Of course, since I'm streaming live, I'm like, what other mistakes could I possibly be making right now?
They only happen when you're
They
live.
only happen, yeah, when you're filming or streaming. Every other time, I'm just perfect at sewing. I never make a mistake. It's great. Okay, so I'm pinning that in place so it won't move. And now on the outside, I've got this welt, which is going the correct way. And I know that because my hand is going in it this way. Otherwise, yeah, if I had sewn it the wrong way, it would have been going the other way. Then I would have been like, oh, crap. Hey, Angela, can we start this stream over? And you'd be like, nope, keep going with it. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like this for right now, and we're going to top stitch around this to lock that into place. But I'm going to prepare my other one really quick. But yeah, I honestly, I wish welt pockets were more widely used in patterns. Although you can put a welt pocket in anything. You could thrift something and just start putting pockets in whatever you want. There's also a method of doing this where you can install a zipper, so you can have a zippered welt pocket where the welt hides the zipper for a little extra security, which I think I did a demo on my YouTube a long time ago. Oh, speaking, I can pitch this because I'm live right now. We launched the new Tock Custom / brother sponsored video series of sewing in 4K about a month ago, and it's doing extremely well. People are really happy with it. So if anyone out there is looking for brand new demos for beginners using modern equipment with really nice filming studio quality cameras and microphones and stuff, I'm doing really thorough step-by-step tutorials for beginners on youtube.com/Tock Custom, or you can go to my website or whatever. All right. So I've got my welts ready, and I'm going to take this over, and I think I'm going to top stitch just here. They call it stitching in the ditch. I don't like to stitch in the ditch because then you can't see the stitching. I'm going to do it about a 1/16 of an inch around the outside of that silver. And I also want to make sure I'm opening this up so I'm not sewing the pocket shut. So when I get to this single edge, I'm going to make sure that I'm staying clear of the welt. Hopefully that makes sense. Apparently we're just doing a welt pocket demonstration on this stream so far, but hey, Angela will tell me when we're out of time. But after this happens, we will.
This is a great tutorial though, Chris, on welt pockets. And you know what? That actually is one of the hardest things to sew. It makes your sewing look so professional when you add welt pockets. So I'm sure myself, I love this tutorial, and I'm sure many watching are enjoying it as well.
Well, good. And thank you for saying that. Okay, so this looks like a good match. I'm just using 100-meter top thread to match the color of my welt. I want this to be really neutral colors so that it will match any outfit, which is, you know, the fun part of designing clothes is thinking about, you know, am I making this outfit for something, or is it going to match everything, or is it going to be so unique that I can only wear it once? I think we've all been there. Let's see. All right. I do have a top stitch station set up so I can sew construction on this and then top stitch on a different machine. But I'm not doing that today because I want to use this machine, and also my camera's here, so it's easier. Okay. So now I'm going to start on the open side. And normally I like to do like a triple stitch, but I want to keep this really low profile. I'm going to do like a 3.5 millimeter stitch length. Do one single back stitch because I don't want it to get too bulky. And then stitch as close as I can to that edge. Oh, one stitch too far. Okay. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Now, what this is doing, for those of you who are curious, is it's going to lock this welt into place so that it will never move. And it looks really good to have some cool custom stitching around the outside of your pocket. Okay. And we're more than halfway done with our pockets, which is good. I think after this, all we have to do is just sew the other half of the pocket to it, and we don't even have to serge it because it'll be hidden by lining. So can you see that? Does that make sense? It's hard to see it because it's dark over here, but yeah, that looks perfect. So we're going to put this away, and then I'm going to very quickly just blast through this pocket right here. Let's start on the same side I did the other one. Okay. I don't know about anyone in chat or you, Angela, but I've grown accustomed to sewing at maximum speed or as fast as I can. It's like riding a motorcycle. Like the faster you go, the more stable you are, which is kind of weird. I just feel like I get straighter stitches when I sew at full speed, even though that might freak some people out. All right. Now I can't, or you guys can't really see it on that camera. So let's see how this looks here. Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah, you can see that. So I've got my stitches, and I feel like I should upload some pictures of this because I always forget that the stream knocks the quality down a little bit. All right. So these are sewn into place. I've got my openings, but obviously there's not a pocket yet. I've just got half a pocket. So I'm going to take out my pins. And it's funny when you're doing a garment like this, because you end up doing all the busy work up front. You always you work from the accents and the details all the way towards the finished product. So we do this first, and thankfully there's no other accessories we're adding to this except patches. So right after this, we can start actually sewing this into a garment, and we'll definitely be able to get the shoulders and maybe the side seams and the sleeves done. I've got this awesome rib knit, like varsity style, what do you call it? Like a rib knit, stretchy waistband and cuffs and the neckband or whatever. I'll show it off. Actually, it's right here. This stuff. I get this super cheap, so these will be the cuffs. This stuff looks really good, and it's really stretchy, and it looks really high quality. So
those are good. That's going to look great, like a ribbing or something. That looks really cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff. And that, thankfully, is really easy to find nowadays. Whereas you used to have to go to like specialty, like spandex and lycra shops just to find banding like that if you wanted to make custom underwear or a swimming suit or jackets or whatever. Okay, so anyway, sorry, I wasn't explaining this. I was just pinning the outside of the pocket to the inside of the pocket, and without stitching through the black denim, I'm just going to feed this through my machine and stitch all the way around the entire pocket. And I'm going to stitch really close to this edge here so that there's not anything floppy in there. So anyway, that's what we're going to do now, is stitch all the way around both pockets, and then we're done with the pockets and we can move on to what's next. So this is the last step in doing welt pockets on a jacket. I also like to do this in the lining of my coats and jackets so that I've got, an inside coat pocket, which is really useful for all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to take out my pins because I'm recording, or because I'm streaming. Oh, wait, I'm using my top stitch. I don't really care because I have a lot of this stuff. I feel bad wasting it, but I think we've all been there. All right. Anyway, I'm just going to follow roughly a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Oh, forgot about my pin again. And we are almost done with pocket number 1 is done. So as you can see, I just kind of balled up the denim in the middle of the pocket, and then I sewed all the way around. And now I can let this out and take out my pins and trim around it if there's too much fabric. And then we've got some nice finished pockets. And I'm going to do one more as fast as I can. Oops. Okay. All right, that is done. So now we are finished with our front pockets. In fact, actually, now would be a good time to maybe sew a patch on onto the front before we assemble it and do the lining, because the easiest time to do any kind of accent stuff, I know it's hard to see this because it's dark fabric, but here, I'll lay it on the table.
Hey, Chris, while you're bringing those patches up, just a question. I know somebody's going to ask this.
Yeah.
You made those patches on the 10 needle. Could you just walk them through the steps to make one of those patches? What
Yeah.
stabilizer you use, or
Actually,
any
I
tips
got a
like
whole new like system that I've been doing lately. Where's that big one I had? Hold on, I'm looking for. Where's that big jumbo dragon patch? I know you can't answer that question because you're not actually
I'm
here.
looking. Everybody's looking. Everyone.
Everyone's looking around. Yeah. How often does anyone put stuff on their sewing table and then lose it immediately?
I do.
Was I not just showing this thing off like a second ago?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't see it.
totally did. Well, whatever. I got other patches I can
I
show.
think the cat took it.
Oh,
The
here
cat
it is.
took it
It's, of
away.
course, it's always underneath like the smallest scrap of fabric. All right, so not that one. This one. Actually, I will zoom in for this because this I'm really excited about. But I've been making patches for a long time, and I always was getting like so I always embroider onto either denim or twill. I prefer twill for making patches, but I always got like frayed thread around the outside of my satin stitch where I'd, you know, black satin stitch and then I'd trim it and then it would fray. And I tried putting like fray check or one of those like fray glues on there and it just wasn't good enough. So I got this stuff. It's this like super heavy duty paper backed fusible webbing. And it's got like a really thick adhesive. The shiny side is the adhesive side. And this stuff is like industrial grade thick. And I cut it. Here, I'll show you. This is a great example because I haven't cut this one yet. So I've got this already ironed on here, right? And when I trim it, I'll trim it like 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Sorry, I'll try to do this really fast. Because I can even see right here, I've got some frayed threads showing up. And there's a solution to this. In fact, I just filmed a whole tutorial yesterday on how I make proper, perfect patches without any frayed fabric. I'm not going to do the full thing, but I trim it so there's about that much of the paper, right? Now, when I peel this paper away, if you're not familiar with paper-backed webbing, this peels away, and then normally this would be ready to, put on your fabric and you iron it and it sticks. But you should be able to see if there's like a shiny clear film kind of showing up around the edges. So what I do is I don't have my lighter with me right now, but I hold it upside down and I light it with a lighter so it melts and it falls towards the front, and then it ends up curling around the satin stitch and gluing it all together, and it dries clear so that you end up. This one is already finished with this perfect. I can feel this nice smooth like rubber all the way around it, and then when I go to iron this onto a piece of fabric. Apparently, I haven't tested this yet. Apparently, this stuff is so strong you don't even need to stitch it after you iron it onto something. I haven't tested that, so don't take my word for it. But normally, I would iron it on. It's going to stick really well, and then I'll do, a straight stitch on my satin stitch. I'm going to do some testing, but hopefully that answers your question about getting perfect patches that don't fray, and the stuff should be super, super sticky. Um, so, I think I answered.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you do anything differently that maybe I'm not aware of?
I don't, because I don't make a lot of patches. I do a lot of applique
Right.
and a lot of embroidery, but most of my embroidery, even when I do the embroidery I do a lot on tulle. So mine's like more of a dainty
Oh,
embroidery
yeah.
versus
Yeah,
those
you showed
hardcore
off a
patches.
bunch of stuff last time I saw you in person with embroidery on tulle, and I think you had something with sleeves that you had made.
I have another one. When I see you next
Yeah,
time, you'll
that
see it.
stuff that you do is super cool. I really like that. That's the only time I wish I was a woman was when it comes to fashion and I see people like you making stuff like that and I'm like, darn it, I can't get away with wearing a mesh t-shirt with embroidered flowers on it, you know?
Yeah, you could, Chris. You could totally pull it off.
Only specific types of people can get away with that and I'm just not one of those people, you know?
I'm
So
gonna make you. I'm gonna make you some. We'll let the brother fans leave it in the chat. I'm gonna make some tulle sleeves for you that look like tattoos.
I would totally, oh, that would
Bikers
be
wear
great.
that.
Yeah,
Bikers wear
like
that.
skulls with snakes wrapped around them or something like that. Okay. So, all right, now I just trimmed around the edges of my pockets, and now these pockets are done. I might have to clip a couple of threads here and there, but these are done, and they look really good. Oh yeah, I'm zoomed in now, so you can see the nice silver top stitching. The inside of the pocket is silver because that's the fabric we use. You can do any accent that you want, but most importantly, this will show up better from the inside. I could put my hands in here, or I could put, my lip gloss or my, calculator or whatever the heck I need to. I guess people don't use those anymore. They use cell phone. Put my phone in there, my keys, whatever. So pockets are done, and now, yeah, let's sew a patch on. Do I have any of these that are ready? Not really. I wasn't going to do this one on here because this is not for me. You know what? Forget it. I think I've explained enough for people to understand. Like, this is the time when I would either, hoop my jacket right here and embroider directly onto the panel, or make a patch and put it on my panels while they're flat. This is the time to do that. So, anyway, just keep that in mind to do all of your kind of decorating before. Actually, here's a great example. This is the biggest patch I ever made, and I did it the same way on this kind of futuristic cyber jacket that I made. But this was a 14-inch tall patch. And Angela, you saw this a couple of years ago when we were in Texas
Yeah,
together.
that's cool.
Um, and then I did like airbrushing on the bottom, and the front has more patches. In fact, I even installed LED lights into this, which, that's not a sewing thing, that's just other stuff. But this is
That's
how I
not.
would do that.
It's super cool.
Yeah, I love that jacket. So, anyway, now I would just kind of continue on as if I was making any typical garment. So, if anyone here has ever made, a button-down shirt or a blouse or whatever, actually, I suppose I would do the back panel right side up like that. Match up my shoulder seams. I thought I was, what's funny is I thought I was going to get to the point where I was doing the zipper on this stream. And I was excited. I was like, oh man, I'm going to get to show off welt pockets, full construction, sleeves, cuffs, and a zipper all in one broadcast. But yeah, that's not happening. You guys are just going to have to wait for the bomber jacket tutorial on my YouTube, which will be coming out relatively soon, I think, actually. It's on my list of one of my next videos to shoot. All right, so anyway, shoulder seams are next. And on the pattern, it tells me to sew the shoulder seams and the side seams, right? So then you end up with the sleeve hole. And this might be a controversial take on whatever, but I'm not a fan of doing the sleeve hole where you sew the sleeve together and then put it through the hole and sew in a circle. I don't enjoy doing that. It never turns out well for me. I much prefer sewing the sleeve on first and then stitching up from the sides all the way through to the tip of the sleeve. I get much better results that way. someone out there knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Hopefully. Okay. And this is real. Actually, I'm going to switch back to black thread because we're done top stitching for a while. How much time do we have left, Angela?
Let me check.
I'm losing track.
You've got about 15 to 17 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good. We could actually get maybe a decent amount of stuff done.
We're like sitting here timing. Like, I'm mesmerized watching all this as everybody else is. And don't forget, everyone, we are live in the chat today. So if you have questions or you have comments, drop them in there, even if you're watching the replay, because we come back and watch those. And Brother Social watches it. And if there's a question that we need to answer, they send it on over to us and we answer it as fast as we can.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to chat with people while we're talking to them with both our voices and our keyboards.
You know what, though? Sometimes it's kind of fun. So sometimes we have to do these pre-records because of schedules, and we want to keep on those Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon to keep you all in line. But a lot of times, It's really fun to watch the replay myself and to be live in the chat because you can visit with everyone in a totally different level.
Yep. Oh, whoops. Hold on. I did something. I didn't mess something up. I think one of my cats jumped on my keyboard and did something inappropriate. How do I turn off? There we go. Okay. All right. So, unfortunately, this jacket is a unisex small. It's not for me, so I'm not going to be able to wear it. But let's pretend that I was, I'm tall. I'm like really tall. Probably doesn't seem like it on camera. But let's see how this would fit if I were to pretend to fit into a unisex small. Ah, yeah. There we go. It looks like a life preserver, which I'm sure Angela's used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I got my little pockets and
your hands are going.
Yeah, it's like a little capelet right now. It just barely. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
This is cute.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a new look. Maybe I don't put sleeves on here. Maybe we just make a bomber vest or something.
I'm on a boat all the time. You can make me a life preserver that looks like that. I'd love it. Make sure it floats though, okay? I need that.
Yeah, I'll make you like a Marty McFly style vest.
I would wear it.
With floating batting or something in it. Okay, so I might skip the sleeves and go to the waistband because I really want to show off. I can do the sleeves later. Oh, wait, no, I can't. That's why you have to do the side seams first. Okay, so we have to do the sleeves. Darn it. Sometimes you want to show something specific and then you get trapped into the order of operations. I'm not going to be serging any of my seams because, again, we're going to have lining. And I didn't show it, but I've got a silk silver lining, which is nice and slippery. Okay, wow, this is such a small jacket. I'm used to making like a 1 or 2 XL, or no, like a large or a 1 XL everything. Okay, make sure you cut out your notches because these matter. My single notch goes towards the front. My double notch goes towards the back. And I probably shouldn't admit this on camera, but I don't cut out any notches in most patterns except the sleeves because that's the only time I get confused. But that's after you've made 200 pairs of jeans, you just kind of know where things go. All right, here we go. So I just did a demo on making a t-shirt for my YouTube, and I was explaining how doing sleeves for anyone for the first time can be really confusing or irritating because you've got this sleeve that I don't know if you can see it because it's so dark, but the sleeve is curving this way, and then you've got this hole that curves the opposite direction. And it feels really unnatural to have opposing curves matching up. Sorry, I couldn't use a lighter fabric. This is just what the customer wanted. So I would have loved to have. I should have just put the lining together. Whatever. It's all going to work out. So we can do this, and then the side seams, and then the waistband. There's no way. I did do a t-shirt speed run on a live stream with Angela one time, and we I think we finished it with like 1 minute to spare on the clock because we only have an hour.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, yes.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, I can't get to it right now. I took that shirt and I airbrushed. I don't know if anyone's familiar with like layered stenciling, but I did a layered stencil. Actually, I can show. I took a picture on my phone. I'll just hold my phone up to the camera. You guys don't mind that. This was really cool. But I took this shirt that I made.
I got to see it because I remember when we made that. Well,
Yeah.
I say we. That's kind of what, like, my husband, I'll say, we need to mow the lawn. He's like, why do you always say we? So,
Yeah.
we watched you make the shirt.
All right, here we go. Let's zoom into this. So this is the lower, like, right corner of
That's
my
cool.
shirt. But if you know what that's from, you know what that's from, and if you don't, that's fine. But this is my little workshop station downstairs, and I airbrushed this with a bunch of stencils that I made on my brother Scan and Cut, which you can kind of see the top of right there. So I cut out a bunch of Mylar stencils, and then I layered them and did different colors of airbrush, and then I heat set them with a heat press. So that is another really fun and cool method of adding some, unique accents to your projects. Not everything has to be embroidery, although embroidery is arguably the best looking, in my opinion. But you've got vinyl, you've got applique, you've got airbrushing, you've got patches. Then you can do that like bleach stamping stuff, which I haven't actually tried that, but I'd really like to. Have you ever done any bleach stuff, Angela?
I have. Actually, I don't know if you can see it behind me. Can you see
Oh, your
the.
studio looks amazing today, by the way.
Thanks. Can you see that pink jacket behind me?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was.
behind your left shoulder, or I don't
Yeah.
know if it's yeah.
That was a pink. What was it? It was a cotton sateen.
Yeah.
And it's all bleached with a paintbrush and spray paint. And I did
Oh
7
man.
yards of fabric that way and then made the jacket. It's one of my favorite jackets.
Did you make the jacket from scratch first and then do all of that?
No, for this one, because I wanted to make sure that it turned out the way I wanted it to, I laid out 7 yards of fabric, just a long strip of it. And then I took bleach with, I'm not sure if this is proper, but I was trying to make a way to make bleach thicker. And when I use a lot of dyeing, I'll use salt and sugar. So I took sugar and bleach and turned it into a paste and painted all over with the paintbrush. And then I sprayed it with the spray can. All I have
That's
to say is,
really cool. How
if
long do you let it sit on the fabric before you rinse it off?
I waited about 15 minutes. Bleach happens so fast.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
just a huge warning, if you do that, wear a mask and
Right.
make sure it's ventilated because
Right. Or do it outside. Yeah.
she was a bit stinky.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking I've always wanted to do that, but I'd be too nervous to make, like a jacket like this out of black denim and then hold my breath and hope that the bleach works. So it's much smarter to pre-bleach your fabric, kind of like pre-washing it.
Yeah. And then it washes and then I could see what it looked like. But you know what, though? I have to say, a lot of times when I hand dye things, I will make the garment first and then hand dye it, especially if it's a top. But when it comes to a big jacket like that, I would probably dry clean it anyways because it has a silk lining. So
Right.
this way, I knew the fabric was going to turn out nicely. You could always test it too first and then go for it. Because if the outfit's made, then whatever bleaching you do on the sides and your seams all blends in. It looks like one piece. It's kind of cool.
That's so funny. I'm so guilty of this, and I don't know if you or anyone else in chat is like this, but I'm not great at testing stuff. If I see or have an idea, I'll just like do it. Um, like
Yeah.
the thing that I just airbrushed on that shirt. Like I could have probably practiced on a piece of fabric and heat set it and washed it to see if it would wash out. But I was like, whatever, you know, we'll do it and see if it works.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
And you know what? If it doesn't turn out, do you remember my well, it's called my baby poop top. I'm not wearing it now, but I bleached it and it looked like it did. My sister had little kids and it looked like a diaper. So I hated it, but I didn't want to lose the top. So you know what I did is I re-dyed it like 3 more times, and
Oh
now it's
wow,
my favorite top. But everybody calls it the baby poop top.
that's actually pretty smart. Is just keep bleaching it out until it looks the way that you need it to, and
I'll
better than
make
starting
sure
over. Yeah.
just for you, Chris, on our next live show, I'll wear it.
Okay. Cool. And actually, I ought to wear one of my airbrush T-shirts because I'm really proud of that. It looks so good.
Yes, you should.
And like, if you were to try to screen print that, you'd have to make 7 screens because it's 7 different colors. So stenciling it's a great option for doing a few very detailed projects. But
Are
if
you
you want
going
to
to
make
give
like
us?
100,
Are you going to
then
give us the tutorial one day on that? Because you'll be using the Brother Scan and Cut, I'm sure. So can we get a
actually,
tutorial?
I could totally do that.
Awesome.
I think brother would approve of that. Yeah, I might have to like pre-make the stencils because
That's
otherwise
okay.
you're just gonna watch me hit cut 8 times and then have to wait. But I can just put the scan and cut next to myself while I'm airbrushing.
Perfect.
If I didn't explain what I'm doing, I'm just sewing the sleeve on, um, and I apologize if we got carried away talking about bleaching and airbrushing and stuff, because that's the kind of people we are. We get excited when we talk about, we're sharing knowledge and techniques. But if you want a more detailed explanation of how to sew sleeves onto shirts, I've got tutorials on how to make hoodies, button down shirts, dress shirts, t shirts, and soon to be jackets. So, anyway, got one sleeve on there, which you probably can't see because it's this such dark fabric. It's like the inside of a coffin. All right.
All right, Chris, I'm giving you your timing. You got 4.5 minutes left.
4.5. Okay, well, we can get the other sleeve done and then the side seams, and then I'll put on the tiniest jacket ever without cuffs or a waistband. So this is good though. Actually, in an hour to be able to get both pockets, shoulders, and sleeves and side seams done, that's not bad at all.
And
And the lining
talking and
yeah,
giving tutorials.
yeah, and hanging out and making jokes and laughing, and I mean this is just one big win right now. All right. How loud is that when I'm sewing, by the way?
Not too bad.
Okay, well that's good.
Machines always sound louder when you're sewing like that because your mic's right there.
Oh
So that machine, I have that machine. It is so quiet.
yeah. I have to say, I just did a new, fresh how to embroider demo, and I'm using the Brother SE700, the new little hybrid machine. And that thing is, it's slower than this or the PR machines, but it's so quiet for embroidery. Like, if my girlfriend's sleeping, I could run that and she'd never. It's that machine, and she'd never hear it, which is pretty great.
That's awesome.
Um, Okay, I don't need to switch cameras right now. So I'm going to take out all my pins, which I should have done while I was sewing, but I'm a stubborn little boy and I can't help myself. It is really nice with making things that are lined because I don't have to overlock anything. Which, don't get me wrong, I love overlocking, especially since I got the airflow. But it just saves a lot of steps. Okay. Oh, yeah. I don't think I showed this off. Can I do this? I got new pants I made for the 4th of July. You want to see?
No, what did you make?
How do I go? Switch camera. Engage. There it goes. Okay, here. I
I
will
gotta
show
see
you.
these.
It's not the most 4th of July type thing, but I made
Oh, they're
Avengers themed pants. And, there's certain characters on here that are particularly American. So these are jeans with pockets. And I think I got my logo. Oh, sorry, there's a microphone thing there. And the A logo. So that's what I did for the 4th of July this year,
nice,
which
nice.
I was pretty happy with. Um, I try to be aware of wearing something different every time we do one of these. All right, so now we have this big mess that looks like a giant dragonfly full of fabric. And thankfully, we're like 2 stitches away from this turning into something that resembles an actual garment. So I've got this with the back laying face up. And I'm going to grab the front panels and the sleeves. We're going to lay this so that the corner of the tip of the sleeve, the armpit seams, and the bottom of our front panel all come together like that. And then all we have to do is just pin this and run a straight stitch. I'm realizing right at this moment, I'm probably not going to have enough time to do these 2 stitches. But maybe it would be more fun for the audience and Angela and I if we just hung out for a minute and caught our breath, since we just did some incredible sewing and hanging out together before we wrap this up.
I
So,
will say I think the whole tutorial was worth itself with that great welt pocket tutorial, because that's really what makes the bomber jacket in the first place. And
yeah.
then also you're adding these really cool patches. So it just adds a little bit of touch of couture, I would say, to
Oh,
what's
here, I'll show. I'm not going to do any sewing, but uh, something else that definitely makes this a bomber jacket is this stuff, the banding, you know?
that
So you
looks
take
so
this,
good.
you fold it in half, and then this is going to end up filling the whole neckline right here. So you've got a nice stretchy, kind of varsity looking thing, and then the cuffs are going to have these, and the bottom waistband's going to have that. So this accent adds so much dimension, and it makes it a lot more casual. I could have made a pea coat or something fancy, but sometimes you just want to put on a jacket and go to, get a burger or get some cheese curds or whatever people do wherever they live.
Wait, I forgot you're in Wisconsin. Hey Chris, send me some good cheese. That's all I buy is Wisconsin cheese.
Well, you guys are, yeah, we can make that work. And you and I talked about sometime in, I think, like November, trying to get together and shooting did we say November or did we say next spring?
I was like, yeah, next spring.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Angela, we should get together and shoot some tutorials. And you were like, oh, cool. Put me down for March or something. And I was like, this was like last month. And I was like, oh, we have to wait 10 months for me to hang out with you and shoot a tutorial. And Angela's that busy. So even I'm not cool enough to get into.
It is true. Well, I've got classes coming up in my studio, and a lot of these people get to play on the new Brother machines. They love them, And in a couple months here, we'll get to see what's coming out here in August, which would be great. But we
I
can't.
haven't actually heard. I don't know anything, but I'm excited because I think there was a light load last year. So
Last
there was
year
a
was
big,
no. Last year was the Avenir. That was like the biggest, newest
yeah,
machine, newest
flagship
technology they've ever
machine.
come out with, which is amazing. But this year, I can't tell.
Okay. Do you know something?
Of course, I do.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Cool. Well,
And
I'm
you
excited to find out.
too, but he's sworn to secrecy. So,
That's yeah. No problem. But anyway, I look forward to at some point shooting some demos with you and bringing you some cheese in the process because I can take the ferry across Lake Michigan and be there in 3 hours.
that sounds amazing. And you know what? We probably have to do it live because the Brother Sewing fans would love it. So,
That would be
hey,
really
Chris,
pretty cool.
this has been a great tutorial. Love it, love it. Everyone, leave your comments. We're live in the chat, so don't forget. Be sure to chat back with us. And if you have questions, even if you're watching the replay, drop it in there because Chris will want to answer.
Yes, I will. Or check out my videos and comment there, or send us emails or Instagrams or whatever you do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, when you guys are on social, don't forget, as Chris said, pop over to YouTube if you're not on there already and subscribe to Brother Sews, Brother Crafts. Chris has a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, and we're always busy on there. So we love it when you follow, and then you get alerts when there's live shows, right, Chris?
Yeah, I actually prefer watching on YouTube if I'm
Me
being
too. I have
honest.
it on the big screen.
Okay, good. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad. Apologies for not getting farther in the project, but some things that you care about take time. So
I thought it was awesome. We're going to look forward to seeing that jacket, though. Thanks, Chris.
yeah, I'll make sure I get pictures. So check my Instagram in the next week or so. But yeah, Angela, thank you so much for being such a gracious host and putting on another great show. And thank you everyone in chat for watching.
I love it. I love it. So I got to give them a little hint. So next week on Tuesday, Kathy Gandy's going to be on, Brother, at noon. And she's going to give you a really good tutorial on the Avenir on how to set up your settings on the machine. There's like 13 pages of settings. You don't want to miss it. So until next time, everyone, happy sewing. Chris, thanks for a great show.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.